Hey guys, it's Robert, an ambassador for Christ. Then as you know where I go, the kingdom guys, remember as usual, eat the fish and spit out the bones for some things you may agree with and some things you may not. Now, this video is going to get crazy, it's going to get ballistic, it's going to be mental. Mental, mate. Now, demon possession is on the rise, okay? Demon possession is on the rise, all right? And as we're going in this time we're living in, and this time of sin and madness, demonic possession is rising. They even tell you about it in the news. It's reported in the news all the time. It's going to be crazy. Now, my brother sent me a video yesterday on WhatsApp, and the video that he sent me was crazy, right? Basically, I'm going to show it to you in a minute, okay? In a few seconds, all right? And basically what it is, it's a demon-possessed man in a hospital, because this guy got shot in his cheek, all right? And the guy's possessed with a demon, and you see this demon manifest, and it's all in Portuguese, but basically one guy is casting the demon out, he's praying to Jesus, and as he's praying to Jesus, this guy is manifesting more and more, and he starts to say, you have got no power here, you can't cast me out, and all this stuff here. That's what's happening in the video that I'm going to show you, all right? Also, if it's night time, if you're watching this and it's dark, turn the light on, because I don't want to freak you out, and if it's at night time, don't watch it, because I don't want you to have nightmares or something. But it's not for the faint-hearted, so it's like a bit of a disclaimer. So anyway, I'm gonna put the video on, all right?
Pai nosso que está no céu, santificado seja o vosso nome. Venha a nós o vosso reino. Seja feita a vossa vontade. Assim na terra como no céu. O pão nosso cada dia nos dai hoje. Perdoa as nossas ofensas, assim como nós perdoamos nossos pecadores. Não nos deixei cair em tentação, mas livrai do mal. Amém. Você não é poderoso. Você não é poderoso. Jesus, Deus está aqui. Deus é maior do que tudo. Você não é poderoso. Deus é maior. Jesus Cristo está aqui.
Conheço a Bíblia melhor do que você. Você não tem conta, você é corrupto.
Sou corrupto.
Embate.
Vou te falar que você
Embate que eu vou estar na cozinha, eu tô te aguardando. Não bate.
Você é do mal.
Embate.
Você não é. Você é do mal. Sai.
Isso.
Sai.
Now, did you see that craziness right there? You see, like I said, we're on the end times and demon possession is on the rise. See, in the Bible, there was people that was acting that way in the New Testament, okay? And they were called demoniacs, and Jesus cast out many demons. You know, it speaks about how Jesus was in the temple, and as he was talking and teaching in the temple, demons were screaming, and people were screaming, saying, we know who you are, you're the Son of God, torment us not, you know, and Jesus cast the demons out. There were other demons where people were committing suicide. There was like, for example, the madman at the gatherings had a suicidal spirit, all right? This madman at the gatherings used to cut himself with stones. He used to run around naked. They couldn't bind him. They put chains on him and fetters around your feet. But he broke the fetters and broke the chains apart because he was possessed. He had supernatural power because the demon that was inside him gave him that power. So when Jesus cast the demons out of that madman, he cast the demons into the pigs, and the pigs ran down a steep place into the sea, and they died and they choked themselves. It shows you it's a suicidal spirit, all right? And also the manifestation of this spirit is, you know, trying to cut themselves and screaming and naked and strong. They're the characteristics of this spirit. You have other times in the Bible, in the New Testament, where there was a boy who kept on, when the father said to the disciple, a father said to Jesus, you know, my son is possessed with a demon and your disciples couldn't cast it out. Because oftentimes the spirit would grab my son and cast him into the fire or cast him into the water. So they knew what demon possession was, and they understood what demons were doing and what the manifestations of demons were. They would jump inside people and try to get that person to kill themselves. or they were manifest with growling and shouting. It says it in the New Testament. It's crazy. And they was cast out. You know, there was a time when the one demon leapt upon the 7 sons of Sceva and beat them all up and stripped them naked. It's in the book of Acts. So I'm talking about demonic possession here, right? And there's loads of these stories in the New Testament. And what happened was Jesus cast them out. You know, there was even spirits of witchcraft inside of people where people could foretell the future. Necromancy. There was familiar spirits where people were using these spirits to foretell the future, and they was getting paid for foretelling the future using a familiar spirit. So you can read about that all over in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. But it says that there was a young lady that was following Paul and Barnabas, I think it was, and they were saying, and she was saying, I know who you are. You've come to preach about the King and about the gospel, okay? And basically, Paul cast the familiar spirit out of the woman, said, you worker of iniquity, whatever, and he cast the familiar spirit out of the woman. And when that familiar spirit was cast out of the woman could no longer foretell the future, because it's called a familiar spirit. She was foretelling the future through a demon. Now, demonic possession is on the rise. You see, demonic possession is still here. Demonic possession, as the society becomes more and more evil and more wicked, demonic possession is beginning to rise. You see, they talk about, this is what they don't speak to. This is the unknown things that you don't hear about. But people who are transvestites or people who are transvestite and even homosexual, they have a high rate of suicides in that community. They don't tell you that. They have a high rate of diseases in that community. They don't say that. Sexually transmitted diseases is a high rate in those social circles. They don't tell you about that. But we know that if you look in the Bible, it's a characteristic of a demon. Now, demon possession is on the rise. They tell you about this in the news. They tell you about it in the news. You see, they call it psychological issues. He's psychologically unstable. Take this tablet. You see, in that video I showed you, that guy leaning back, rah, rah, the diagnosis for him is he's got psychosis. He's mentally unstable. He has a mental issue. That is how the world say what it is. That's their diagnosis, okay? But when you go to the Bible, you see the characteristics are the same. You can see, no, it's a demon. It says it throughout the whole Bible. That spirit needs to be cast out. Now, it's all on the rise. It's all on the rise. The news tells you about it. It tells you about crazy people shooting this person and shooting that and doing all these crazy things. And then they say, oh, you know, he had bipolar. He had this mental disorder. He had this mental problem. But according to the scriptures, it's a demonic possession. But because we hear it, because we're always listening to the world's solutions to a spiritual problem, that solution is not going to work. We keep on thinking it's a psychological issue because the doctors said it, right? But the Bible says otherwise. Now, this is what we need to understand. They have made a lot of drugs illegal, okay? But there's a lot of drugs like heroin, crack, and all this stuff. It's all illegal. But obviously, people use that stuff illegally, and we know it opens up. They're opening themselves up for evil spirits to come inside them. That's the reason why you see people who are on these types of drugs, they act crazy. I knew a guy, one of my friends, he was on cocaine all the time and he was switching. He would talk to you normally, not me, but he was with my other friends. But I remember this one story, he was with my other friends. This one friend, right, who was on coke all the time and crack. He was with another group of friends that I know. And my friend knew my other friends. They were all friends, right? Without getting confusing. While they were sitting down smoking weed, my friend, who's the crackhead, stood up, pulled out a knife, and robbed them. He robbed all his friends. What kind of madness is that? That's what I'm trying to say. Mentally unstable. You think, why did he do that? Oh, he must be mentally unstable. No, demonic possession. Because only demonic possession will make you act out of character and act all crazy and weird. Now, what's happening now is that what they've done, they've made a lot of drugs illegal, but now we have an epidemic on our hands, and it's called legal highs. Now, legal highs are all different types of chemicals that are mixed up. They're like different types of heroin, different types of crack cocaine, different types or different forms of these hard drugs, different forms of what's that thing from meth, crystal meth, different forms that they're not illegal because there's so many of them flooding the market, like flacker and bath salts and all these sorts of crazy legal highs. We've got one over here called Spice in England. We have one called Spice, and up to January it was legal to sell it. They were selling it legally, but this drug was called the freezing drug, where people were tramps in the street and homeless people in the street would take it and they'd be all right, and then they'd just go, they call it the zombie drug. They would just go, or they'd be in a funny position like that. So these people, there's pictures of these people standing up like that. They take the drug, they're like that, like this, and they stand like that for 3 hours and don't move. It's called the zombie drug. I think it's called Spice or something like that. They have it in the prisons. And then people are going crazy. They're crawling on the floor and they're tearing their face and they're doing this madness. Demon possession is on the rise. See, they call it, because he's been taking all those drugs, he now has a psychological issue. See, the world calls it psychological. The Bible calls it demonic possession. But as this stuff is flooding, as the West, I'm not talking about the world, I'm talking about the West. As the West is becoming more and more and more and more evil, more demonic possession is happening, more demonic possession is on the rise. There's demonic possession in every area. See, if we step out of the boundaries of God, we will be demonically possessed and we will start acting all crazy. And then the doctor will say to us, it's a psychological issue, take these tablets. And when you take those tablets, the psychological issue is not dealt with at all because it's not psychological, it's spiritual. See, that's what's happening right now. There's a spiritual sickness in the veins of society. A spiritual sickness in the veins of society. And there's demonic demons surfing on those veins. They're surfing on that sin blood. And people are being possessed left, right and centre. And people are manifesting in the streets. Oh, you walk down the street. I know full well, wherever you are, you walk down the street and you'll see someone walking going, or they're walking, talking to themselves. I'm not talking about someone who's prayer walking like me. I mean, you get the crazy. They're walking. No, we're gonna do it. Yes, no, yeah, and they're just mumbling craziness. It's on the rise. See, when I was younger, all right, I didn't see any of that. There was none of that on the streets. See, this is where it comes. This is gonna get deep. It's like an end time message. What I was about to go into. Right, where things are going crazy, and I was going to show you about how you have to listen to your elders, because I'm an elder, right? I'm an elder. What do I mean when I'm an elder? See, I'm a crossover from the old world to the new world. I'm pre-internet, so I can tell you what's foolishness and what's right. See, I know about TDK tapes. I know about VHS. I know about analog. Yeah, I know about phones with wire on it. Yeah. I know about a time before MP3s. Okay, so I can tell you with clarity what's foolishness in the world and what's going on. I have a better vision. Listen to your elders. But I'm not going to go into that. That's a different message. It's like an end time-ish message, because we've been in the end times for the last 2,000 years, obviously. So back to what I'm saying. Demonic possession is on the rise, and you need to watch yourself. Watch out, yeah? Because that guy who was possessed, you're going to see a lot more of that manifesting in the streets. And the thing is, the world hasn't got the answers. The world's answer is give them pharmaceutical drugs, but that is not the answer. The answer is Jesus, but they don't want Jesus. See, you know when a society has rejected Jesus, because we start to go down the pit and into the cesspool of wickedness and madness. We start to go in the miry mud, and we start to, the world is disappearing in the mud, sinking in quicksand. That's what's happening to society. That is what is happening to society right now, where we're living right now. Because wickedness is increasing, demonic possession is increasing, the solutions to the problems are decreasing. Because they've rejected God, the door is open for all sorts of debauchery and craziness to come in. And that's what's happening. The Bible says to reject God is to, I think it is to want death. Or yeah, to reject God is to embrace death. And that's what we've done. I've spoken to a lot of atheists online. I've spoken to a lot of people that reject God. And what they're doing is embracing death. They think I'm crazy. say, oh, you believe in imaginary God. I'm like, yeah. We'll soon see. If I believe in imaginary God, what about the other three, I don't know, however millions of Christians are out there, they believe in imaginary God as well. There must be truth in it somewhere. But anyway, I'm not going to that. That's another conversation. That will take me. See, I'm going this way. That will take me that way. And I don't want to go that way. I want to stay this way. Anyway, let me stop what I'm saying because I could carry on about it for ages. So what am I saying to you now? Don't get possessed. Don't take no legal highs. Don't take no drugs. Keep in Jesus. Keep deep in Jesus. Keep deep in Jesus and go deeper into Jesus, because if you don't, you're going to be possessed. It speaks about in the book of Revelation. Everybody in the book of Revelation was possessed. I don't even go into that. Loads of people in the book of Revelation were possessed. As you go through the book of Revelation, you see the demonic possession rising to epic scales, where you start seeing the film on the I'm not going to that. The film on the street, but that's a whole different conversation. I'm digressing again. And I'm rambling. I'm going to stop. I've made my point. It's Robert, an ambassador for Christ, and as you know, where I go, the kingdom goes. And thanks to everybody who's been donating to the ministry and supporting the ministry. Thank you to everybody. You know, God is good. I pray that God blesses you. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Stay blessed.